can't race you, but go ahead. Ready, 3, 2, 1, go.
Start off with today's topic, mothers.
Exactly. Alright, this is Michael. We're about to go ahead and do an upgrade on this mini bike, and that is to replace the stock 196 with a 224 Predator. This is the RB, is it the RB200? RB?
Something like that.
I can't remember now. It's on the side.
RB200RSV.
This is the B200RSV. This is the Coleman bike with the rear suspension. Only upgrade to this bike so far is that we did move the shocks forward, which gives you a little bit more ground clearance on these. Great build quality on these things. We really enjoy them. The issue is that if you weigh more than 150 pounds, it tends to be a little bit sluggish. The driver doesn't pick up very well. So we're going to solve that by going with a higher displacement motor and giving it a little bit more torque. We've really done this on one bike, which is kind of our camera view right now. And it was a tremendous difference. So I know a lot of people want to do the dual upgrades where they're going to upgrade the go stage 1 kit, but for now I would suggest people leave it as is, go stock first, and then when you get sick of it, then you go back and upgrade it. But I don't think it's really needed right off the bat, honestly. So that's what we're going to do today. The one thing we're going to do differently though is that besides keeping it stock, we're going to transfer all the useful things off that motor onto our 224, meaning that we're going to switch off our flywheel, which is going to give us the ability to take the charging coils off the motor as well, place it on there so we can maintain the lights as they are. Same thing with the shut off. And that's what we've done with this one already. Basically maintain all the original functionality of the bike without changing anything around. So we'll go ahead and get started. It shouldn't take more than an hour and a half to 2 hours. Take your time, obviously. There's no rush, but we'll walk through that here in a minute. First step is going to go remove this air filter, which Michael will do right now. Our next step is going to be to remove these 2 small screws. And now we can remove that top assembly. Alright, so this is going to give us access here to where the throttle is attached. That's your throttle coming in right here. So we'll need to loosen this screw as well as this one right here. So you're going to need a adjustable wrench to hold that while you turn that screw, loosen it, and then pass the cable through. So before we do that, we're actually going to use the needle nose just to remove this clip so we can get this filter cap out of the way. So like that, and just should be able to work it off there. It's going to be a beast. Good news is we don't need it, so go ahead and just beat the hell out of it if you have to. Yeah, I guess.
I'll do.
Alright, so now we're going to remove the hold down for the throttle wire. Alright, so we're going to just loosen this. You don't have to take it all the way out because it will slide out when we're done. So now what we need to do is get an adjustable crescent wrench on the end there and just hold that while we loosen that screw. Or not, because I'll just hold it, which is good. So once that's loose, this should just pull through. Ta-da! Now that's out of the way. We'll set that to the back here so it doesn't get in the way. Our next step is going to be to remove this wire loom, which is pretty easy. So what you want to do, Michael, is just roll this up so the plastic's out of the way. And there should be 2 clips inside there where you just go ahead and unhook the harnesses. Just like so. So you just want to, they're just pinch connectors. Oh, you got to pinch it. So like right here.
Yeah.
See this? You want to pinch here and then pull it out.
Yeah.
Go ahead and slide that on there. The same thing with the second one. Okay. So same thing. You come right here. It's just a pinch connector. So you want to push that pinch connector down until it just slides out. And you can see there are 2 different ends so that you can't get mixed up on them. So that's it. Now those 2 sides of the motor are disconnected. Now we'll go ahead and disconnect our torque converter. All right, so we need a 10 to hold the back the nut from turning. Go ahead and hit it a little bit. There you go. All right. And then we have one back over here. Same thing. That's why two people's get better. Okay. All right. Is it just two to hold it on, or is there a third?
There's a third.
Of course, there's a third.
Right here.
Jeez. All right. Let me see. See if I can even get the camera on it. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Go ahead. It's like ridiculous. Okay. Easy peasy. We'll go ahead and collect our pieces, and then we'll proceed to the next step, which will be removing the driver assembly. Thankfully, chain's on the other side, which is nice. So this is your driven, this is your driver, and we're basically going to pull this bolt off so we can take this belt off, release it from the motor. At that point, we almost have the motor off. We just got to remove the 4 bolts securing the engine down, and that's it. Which is nice not to have the driven side attached, so it actually makes this go much faster. Now you can use a standard wrench if you want, but impact makes this go much faster. And just like that. The only thing we'll have to do here, I believe, is that this bolt is metric, and the threaded end on the other engine is actually going to be standard. So go ahead and slide that off, and slide that off, and then we can take our belt off. Oh, actually, there's the slide. When you have this off, you might as well clean it and get it lubed too when you have it off, but that's up to you. So there you go. So we're most of the way there already, getting the motor off. This is actually the easy part. I mean, if we were working without a camera, we could probably have this done in like 10 minutes. So there's also a spacer on there. Go ahead and slide this spacer guy off. And that's it. So we'll take these parts, we'll send them off to the side because we'll need them later. Okay, so this is, wow, get focus. All right, so this is what we removed, which is metric. It's we actually have to replace that with a 5/16 by 24 2-inch, and that was an exact replacement to go on the new motor. This will not work on the new motor. Do not try to put the wrong thread because you'll ruin your crank. So don't do that. Okay, so you don't need the keyway off the new one. You want to remove it. Remember, our driver is already keyed, so we don't need that piece. So you can take that off. I'll usually leave it with the old motor just in case. And then, yeah, you're good to go with this guy. So just remember to put your spacer back on it. I mean, honestly, we can just put that on now. There's no reason to even wait. Okay. Actually, no, it is because we got to put the belt on. Whatever. So we'll leave this off until we're ready. Okay. So we'll be back. So our next step here is going to be to remove the engine mounts. Our engine mount. It's going to be 4 bolts. You have to hold the top and the bottom. You can see Michael has a 12 millimeter on the top, and it's a 10 millimeter on the bottom. Sorry, I'm out of breath. So, and the same thing on the back. The back's a little tighter, but we should be okay getting to that. So the good news is that you can use an impact on this, but you don't have to. If you had to use hand tools, you could, but it's just much harder. So all we're going to do here is he's going to hold the top of that nut, and I'm just going to shoot it real quick. Just like that. Is it off?
Yeah. Oh, not go good.
Okay. So first one. Like crawled in my ear. Okay.
Hold on.
We're working on the 2 front bolts right now. It's tight. Did you get it? Okay, here we go. There we go. So now we're 2 in. Then we're gonna look at the back here. The same thing. It's gonna be kind of tight for him to get in there. It's our last good day to do anything. There we go. You can see where he's trying to get in there. Oh, you're on it. You
doesn't have the grip.
Let me blast it a little bit to get it to turn.
Good.
There you go.
On.
We're on. Okay. There's a face full of dirt if you're not doing this right. Okay, so we're going to switch sides. Or can you get it from that side, or do you need to switch sides?
I can get it.
You got it? I can do the same thing. I can shoot it a little bit so it turns. There you go.
Hold it. Off.
Okay. There we go. So all 4 bolts have been removed. That's it. Our motor is detached. At this point, come on this side, Michael. I believe that you have to remove it from this side. Oh, let me think about this real quick. Can't remember. Yeah, I think you can pull it this way. So you want to grab by the gas tank and go ahead and lift it off. This all stays. So you want to lift this and just go that way. Hold on a sec. Hold on. Stupid things. Okay. All right. So go ahead and lift it and pull it on out. Just like that. One piece. Easy peasy. So I'm going to go ahead and set these motors next to each other because we're going to start transferring parts. I always suggest cleaning up what you have going here. This is a good time to inspect some things, especially the shaft since you have the engine out of the way. If you've been putting a lot of mileage on these things, this is a good time to open this up and grease it, get it all cleaned up. I believe it has a Zerk fitting. Oh, maybe this one doesn't. Anyways, it's a good time to service that stuff if you have to. This bike is pretty new, so it doesn't need that. But it's just something to keep in mind. So our next step here is going to be to do pretty much the same thing. We're going to have to remove this air assembly off the new bike. It's the same assembly. We're going to pop the top off. It's going to have the same 2 screws. And the only other thing is that, see how this slide assembly moves? This one's stiff because it's tight. All you have to do is this screw right here, you're going to loosen it until this moves freely. The other thing that we like to do, if you don't remove the governor, since this is running on a torque converter, I mean, you're really not going to go past 4,000 RPM anyways. It's kind of better just to go ahead and zip tie it. So we'll walk through that as well. But we'll have to remove the gas tanks. We're going to have to remove a lot of stuff because we got to get inside here. We're going to swap over the magneto because that needs to come off of this one because there's wiring that's an interrupter. It's the same part, actually. Taking it apart and looked, and they're the same. So we're going to start by just pulling the fronts of the motors off. There's a difference here, though. These are going to be your 10 millimeter, and then on the Predator, they're actually 8 millimeter. So there's a difference there. But they're transferable. If you want to move 10 to this, you could if you wanted to. It doesn't matter. Okay, so he's going to go ahead and remove the air filter assembly. Go ahead. We'll be collecting our parts behind the motors, so it's out of the way. Not to lose anything. Good news. Like that? Yeah, exactly. Stuff just goes flying on you. You know, I strongly suggest everyone buy these. Well, not these power tools. I just bought this one recently, but these are the diamond-tipped screwdrivers, and they really grab really nice. So if you have like screws that are hard to get to or slipping off your screwdriver, this thing is really, really good for that. They're not that expensive. I think you get 2 for $10, but they're much higher quality than normal stuff. So let me see this through real quick. But yeah, the tip is diamond tipped, which is nice. It grabs really nice. All right, so you're going to pull that out of the way. Okay, we're going to start here by removing the gas tanks. On this case, it's 2 10 millimeters on the front there. So you're going to loosen those 2, and then on the back, it's going to be this guy right here that attaches it. Unfortunately, to get to that, you really should. Well, I guess you could get to it from there if you didn't really want to, though. But I think we have to take this off no matter what because we need to get access to this magneto. So I think that needs to come off no matter what. So we'll actually probably start here. Remove that one and this whole assembly will just basically slide out of the way. You don't have to completely remove it. We just want to loosen it and move it out of the way. So you'll be working on that one. I'll work on this one real quick. Like I said, we're just going to remove this guy right here, this guy right here, which will get that out of the way, and we'll get access to that. We won't worry about loosening this yet for the throttle. We don't need to do that yet. Okay, we're jumping back and forth between the 2 motors, but take the 2 bolts out of that, so that's loose and out of the way. We also need to remove the 2 bolts that are on the carburetor as well. You just want to set those off to the side. So we're pretty much all the way there. Michael, actually, let's get the back bolt here for the gas tank. There you go. So let's go ahead and pull that one out. And now the gas tank should lift. We don't have to remove it. We just want to lift it to make sure it's clear, which it is. We're clear. Yeah. All right. So next thing we're going to do is, like I said, we're doing the same thing on this one. Difference is that these are 8 millimeters versus 10. And we're just doing basically the same thing. We're going to remove that, which will loosen assembly. And then we also remove the 2 front for the carburetor so it slides out of the way a little bit so we get some more room. Okay, so the back assembly is all loose. We took the 2 bolts here and then the one right here which holds that. There's a little hold down assembly here for the vent on the gas tank. We'll actually be bypassing that to get it out of the way because we don't need it per se. Okay, so we've done the same thing. That's all loosened now. And the gas tank's now free. Over here, we don't need this stuff. You guys can do it however you want, but you don't really need it. So we'll go ahead and cut these 2 wires because they're really not needed. And we'll cut the wires off the shut off because we're going to bypass that. We'll bend this wire out of the way because that's going to remove that's to the kill switch, the ground on the motor basically. And then we'll pop that out of the way. And same thing here, cut low oil sensor. Some people thread that off. I don't know why. It doesn't get in the way, so I don't care. And then we'll pull. There's a nut on the back of this, I believe. Is there a nut on the back of this one? It's a bolt. And yeah. So yeah, you have to get one on there to get that off. Let's see. What do I got? I think it's 8 millimeter.
I'll catch you.
Okay. So those parts we don't need. I mean, it's always good to save nuts and bolts, but it doesn't matter. We don't need it. So this will come out of the way. Won't be needed. Actually, a nice little lead is nice to have. So we'll take these parts and set these under the table because we don't need them right now. So our next step is going to be go ahead and set those inside the box. To remove the front cover, you can do it 2 different ways. You can remove all these bolts, which we should anyways because we have to rotate this thing anyways. So we'll remove here. So 1, 2, 3, and then to get the cover off, it's real easy. 8 millimeter, 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the bottom. Same thing on this motor. It's a clone, just the same way. So everything's in kind of the same spot. All you got to do is use 10 millimeter instead of 8. So we'll do that next. Too lazy to take that long extension off of there, but I think it'll be all right. Ah, careful. Let's get on there. There you go. Okay, so that's out of the way. There's nothing weird here. They're all the same size, so nothing to worry about. We should just go ahead and throw those in the pile. Okay, so the next ones we're going to remove are the 4 corners. Just make sure you're clear on them. There's one right there, and then it's pretty much all 4 corners. Okay, and we'll get the lower side. And right there.
Is that it?
Yep. That's what she said. And then there's one more on the top here, inside there. Okay. So when we take this off, we kind of have to, you want to tilt it under. So we'll lift this up. There you go. So you can get under the, careful.
Yeah.
There's the lead is catching. There you go. Under that spring. You can pull that bolt out. Okay. All the same. All right. So let's collect all our bolts here. So they're out of the way. 2, 3, and then that number 4 over the top here. Get that guy. All right. So that's all out of the way. Go ahead and set that behind the back here. Come back to that. Nah. All right. So we're going to switch to 10 millimeter now, so we can do the same thing on this one. So there's our 10. So pull this off too. I use the 1/4-inch drive with an adapter because it's kind of tight spots. That seems to work better. On the 10mm, I don't think it matters. Other way.
Wait a minute.
You don't have to do that on this one. We're not going to use this. So just the 4 bolts on the surround.
Gotcha.
We only did it on that one because we have to rotate it to match like the way this one is. There it goes. Okay. There we go. Go ahead and tilt it forward.
One screw wants to.
Yeah, they always seem to like.
There we go.
Like they have glue on them.
Yeah.
Okay, so pull that out of the way. All right. So now we pretty much tore down where we want to be. Next step is going to be to take this flywheel off, get it out of the way. For that, go ahead and we won't need that one. It's a 21mm. We'll have to get. Oh, I thought it was 21. Let me see real quick what size this is. I think they're 2 different sizes. Yeah, that one's 21. I think that one's 19. Hold on. Perfect. So I can use the 3/8 on this one, which is nice. Should just pop it off. There we go. And set that to the side. The assembly slides off, and I know people do different things, but we're just going straight across. Okay, so next thing we want to do, go back to 10mm. We're going to remove the magneto at this point. So these 2 bolts right here will need to be taken out. Before we do that, though, let's actually get the wiring loose. All right, so this wiring passes through the top here, so we got to go ahead and get it past that. There's a little, is it clipped down? You might have to bend the clip out of the way. And then you want to just work it back through here. It's kind of pinched. We'll just walk that out. So that's ready to get out of the way. All right, so 2 10mm. Go ahead and pull those 2 guys out. Okay, we already disconnected this guy. So you're going to have to...
The magnets are doing their jobs. They're grabbing.
All right, so go ahead and hold the camera for a second.
Got you.
Okay, so all we're going to do is we're going to work this back through here, like so. And since we removed the that's why we got to take the carburetor loose, so we can get this through. And ta-da, we got it all out. All right, looks in good condition, just dusty. We'll wipe it off before we put the new one on. It was these 2 bolts, right?
Yeah. So
we'll just keep those 2 guys together. Don't forget to put the ground back on when you do this, because otherwise you won't be able to turn the engine off. Just be like that. So that ground wire needs to be grounded. So we'll set that to the side. All right, so the next step is going to be we're going to need to remove the flywheel. That's a little more tricky. What we want to do is just screw the nut on just enough to get on there, but not thread it all the way. About that much or so. And what we're going to do is we're going to get a pry bar on the back here, and we're going to tap the edge. Usually not this hard. There it goes. Now, I was pushing back. I should have been pushing forward. Just like that. That's loose. So take the nut back off. You want to screw that on because you don't want to damage the threads. Okay, so we're going to pull that assembly back off. So this is what we're going to need to transfer the new motor. We'll just set this off to the side. Okay, and then inside here are charging coils. And those are 10mm to remove. So we'll get our 10. Gotta have to remember how that's run. That's interesting. So there's this 4, and then there's a protector here on the top. We'll get that off as well. So just got to remember how everything went. We'll set that all off to the side. Same thing, pull the wire through, ta-da, transfer the parts. So now we've taken everything we need off of this motor, so we'll move on to the other motor. Okay, this is going to be a 1/2-inch drive because it's 21 versus 19 on this one. Same thing. Nice and loose. Alright, so take that, drop that on there. Same thing, everything on here is 8mm, so it's a little bit different. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to remove the magneto. You can put your other engine back together if you want, but it's really not necessary if you don't want it. So, okay, so magneto's off, and we'll go ahead and fish it through here, same way we did with the other one. We're going to pull, first things first, I don't care about this. We're actually going to have to remove it anyways, so take that out of the way. And we'll also pull out the vent so we can get clearance. And then this guy right here can also get cut. These are the two for the emission device, which circulates the venting back to the gas tank to the carburetor. But we don't need any of that stuff, so we're going to take that. Same thing, we're just going to cut it and get it out of the way. So now we can lift our wire through, no problem, versus getting all tangled, and pull it through the bottom, like so. And one of our springs came off. Where was that guy? Yeah, he goes on, let's see. This is the pullback for the governor. I don't think it matters. We're just going to move this out of the way.
Yeah.
We'll deal with that in a minute. So we're going to also have to fish out our wiring out of this guy. Actually, we don't really need this, so I can cut it on this side, so I'm not going to pull that through. It's a waste of time. It disconnects too, but we don't need this. So we'll throw it to the side. Alright, so all that's off. So all we need to do now is pull this bolt forward a little bit so we can get access to it and give our flywheel a bear hug, or our engine a bear hug, so we can go ahead and remove this flywheel. Boom, one hit. See, that's the difference between a motor that's been worn a little bit and one's brand new. Brand new usually just pops right off. Okay, so old flywheel, new flywheel, or new, old, whatever. You know, you could mate these if you really wanted to. I don't really find it necessary because I don't feel that that's not married very well. That goes right on. You can do what you guys want. I don't think it matters. This thing's not going to go over 4,000 RPM anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so now we can actually start transferring parts. We're going to take our assembly here and put them top and bottom like that. And they're doweled, so there's a dowel on both of them. So they'll hold in place where they're supposed to. So you don't have to worry about that. So we'll take our bolts and just start them on. I don't tighten until everything is where I expect it to be. That way you don't keep, putting things on and taking them off when you don't need to. Okay, that's interesting. There's a marker on there that says that these are 50 hertz. I don't know if they run in unison to make a 100 hertz or how that's working. They're series or parallel. I am not sure. With that said, those look like they're supposed to. So we'll go ahead and make sure they're in the dowels before you tighten them. So I'm just going to get them just snug. So you don't want to tighten them yet until you know that your flywheel has proper clearance. Okay, so that was the other thing. I think I have to switch this. I have to pull this guy off too.
Yeah.
So I have to transfer that from the other engine. So there's one more part because you need to you need to have this so that it fits properly. So we'll take that off. Both motors. Oh, that's a 10 again. Keep having to switch back and forth. I wish they were both one or the other instead of switching, but it's okay. Not a big deal. Okay. The threads are the same, which is kind of funny. It's just the difference is the size. So we want to just transfer that guy over. She wants to be difficult. There it goes. Gonna have to angle it. Okay. Just make sure that wasn't a good sound. I thought they were the same threads. Apparently, I don't think they are, because that does not want to go. Interesting. That's why you always do it soft, so you don't pull threads. So, okay, I guess we're going with the 8mm, because I'm a liar. I could have swore it worked on the other bike, but it didn't. I mean, I'm just imagining things.
Damn, you got your wife in your head, calling yourself a liar?
Yep. That's what happens. I'm just got gaslit by myself. No, that. I don't like this. Why is it doing that? That was weird. It went. It just. I feel like I had a hard spot in the thread, so it wasn't me. All right, so we're gonna pass the wire through here, just like on the other bike. Pull that wiring through so it tucks, and then this basically keeps your wires from getting sucked into the motor. There, come on. Oh, it just wants to be difficult. Okay. Make sure to tuck. You don't want to pinch the wires. Make sure to tuck that nice and in there. Now we can go ahead and just tighten this one. That guards our wires from getting sucked in. Okay. We want to test our flywheel. Yeah, go ahead. I want to test our flywheel real quick before we get too much further ahead here. So we want to turn this until we get onto the keyway. Those magnets are going to grab. All right. Keyway is pointed up. There. So what we're going to do is just we want to turn it a little bit to make sure that it's not scraping. Nothing's scraping, so that's a good sign. So we're pretty much done with that part. Okay.
Yes.
Nope. They're snug. They're just not tight.
Yeah, they're snug.
Okay. Let's try it again.
All right.
All right.
Peace of mind's good now.
Same thing. Line up the keyway. Should just slide on there. There's our fin, and then the little cone. Like I said, everything has an alignment, has a dowel, so it locks on there. Everything should feel like it goes together nicely. So if it doesn't, you're doing it wrong. Okay. So once that's on there, we're going to go ahead and torque it on. Okay.
Good.
Okay. So our next step here is going to be to hook up our magneto. So basically you want to fish it through the same way that was done before. So I want that to come back through here, like so. And it should actually tuck under the vent there, and then back over to hook into there. So we'll get that out of the way. Next step, we're going to make sure the spring doesn't get caught in anything. You know, you can use a feeler gauge, but 2 pieces of cardstock will work, and they always have for me. So I put that there between the magnet. You always want to make sure the magnet's turned out too, so you're at the right spot when you do this. Okay, so oops, I almost messed this up too. See, this wiring needs to go up, not down. So we want that wiring going over the top. So there it is. Now we're just going to set it on there using our cardstock, which will set our gap that we need. And then now we can go ahead and put our bolts back in. Don't forget your ground wire needs to go through that hole. And then from there it can go inside here. Okay. I said just want to ease them in. Yeah, this one, oops, that was the wrong bolt. That would be why. Okay, you want to make sure that's on there. Just give it a quick shot. Yeah, probably a little bit. Give it a little, couple taps. Double tap. Okay, so this is on here. So we're going to rotate the motor. Get this cardstock out of here. Ooh-wee. Ah, it's being difficult. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to check our gap real quick. Looks pretty good. You don't want to look at it from the side.
It picked up a screw.
Did it?
Yeah.
Another reason to keep your screws out of the way. Okay. So the gap there looks good. It's not touching. I think we're good. Alright, so at this point, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to fish our wire back up to the top. Has to go on this side of the governor and then back through. So you want to tuck. There's a place to tuck the wire where you can get it so it's not in the way of anything. Let's see. Like I said, if you really wanted to, you could remove things completely. I just don't see a reason to. It makes it hard because now I have to try to show you guys what I'm doing. But there's little places where you tuck the wire around so it kind of holds it so it doesn't move on you. Then we come around the back here and it's going to go to the same place like that, and then you're going to pinch the wire there so it doesn't get pulled in the direction you don't want it to. Okay, so that's all done. Our wiring's now done, which is nice. And one other thing we have to do before going any further. Okay, just want to see where that spring is. Alright, so this spring is your governor spring and it already fell off on us. And what we're going to want to do is zip tie it. You don't have to do this. This is just something we do so it gives you better throttle response. So you can do this pass your zip tie in like that. Second zip tie goes like this. And you're just going to pull until it basically inhibits that spring from moving. So I'm going to take our wire clippers. Like so. See? Okay. It fell off, so I do want to verify its positioning on the governor. It looks like it's on the second hole. So here's one here. First one in. Okay. And it's going to be the long side. Looks like this. So it's always good to have the other motor. You can see how things were. So same thing. We'll lift that up like that. And then it'll hook up to the throttle assembly on the top here, which we'll put together here in a minute. So this goes here, and then I believe it says bottom hook. So check, yeah. So it needs to just go on this bottom hook right here, like that. Ta-da. Now we're back to being the way we were. But we're going to have to do one more thing before we can do anything else. And that's going to be removing the rest of this emission equipment. I don't know what all states have it, but in California, unfortunately, we have this. It's an 8mm. This engine will not fit with that on there. And like I said, we already cut the two lines. We had one coming here and one off the top of the gas tank. This one we can leave open and just kind of direct it off to the side. This one will need a plug unless you're replacing the carburetor, which then it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm pretty sure this has a nut on it too. We'll see. Okay, so there's one. Slide it over. There's one on the bottom as well. I gotta come all the way off the side here. Okay. Don't fall on the engine. Yeah, see, they really didn't want you to remove this stuff, so there's nuts on these. There it goes. It's able to get it, so that's good. And then this just pop this sucker off to the charcoal canister gets out of the way. And then you have two nuts that you'll need to on the inside of this heat shield. You shouldn't have to remove it. I'm just going to use a zip tie real quick and poke them out. See if I can get them. There we go.
Zip tie?
I got it. Yeah, so I went from this side to they're out. Okay. So we're good. The next thing we're going to do is, like I said, we need to cover this up. So what I like to do, where's my canister? I'm going to steal something off my old canister. So the 8mm bolt that we took off of that, it's actually a good fitting piece to actually remove this. Alright, you can cut this shorter too. We probably should cut it shorter. I don't want it in the way. So you don't want to cut too short, but about right there. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is take our hose clamp, slide it like that, take your 8mm, and we'll slide right into that hose and plug it like so. So now I'll pull this and then push that the rest of the way in, slide this over, and voila, we're plugged off. That's not going to go anywhere. Alright, so all that portion's done. Like I said, you can do what you want with this vent. Some people just cap it here. You can do the same thing with the larger bolt. Just cap it, but honestly, you really do want a vent on your gas tank. You don't want excessive vapors building up in it, so it's really not the big deal to just let it hang like that. So, next step, everything's in now. We just need to get the gas tank set back down properly. We're going to tighten up the gas tank first. So those bolts fall off. Let's see. Is it these two nuts? I think it is. We'll find out here in a second. Two nuts on this side, and then you'll have a long bolt. So this guy. So we'll just hand tighten these for now. You don't need to tighten those all the way up. Then on the back side here, I'm going to take. Come on over here. Move this motor out of the way. So on the inside bolt, we're going to have to kind of move this around to get it. Might be lined up already. Sometimes you got to fidget these around, but this one just kind of was there. It's actually nice. I'm not going to hit this too hard. Just get it snug. Okay, so that's done. Now we'll go to the front here and tighten up our bolts. I like to do these ones by hand because they kind of have a good. You want to feel on these. You'll feel how when they go snug, you want to go pretty much snug and then like a quarter to a half turn pass. So that's about almost half. So now that's on. So gas tank is tight. Alright, so back to the top of the motor. A couple things are going to need to happen here. One, we rehooked up our governor. You can remove it if you want. I don't really care because, sorry.
It's all good.
So we're going to align these two bolts. Those are the ones that hold on the throttle assembly. No, I don't remember these being 10mm. I remember being 8. So I just want to make sure I have the right ones. I mean, most of the bolts are about the same size, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so we're going to start those on by hand. They're both 8mm. Then you come on to this side. Same thing. Get your alignment on. And you're just going to tighten that up. Okay, snug it. Then adjust it. Make sure there's nothing binding up on you, which there's not. We look good.
Yeah.
Huh.
Make sure this is tight. Make sure that's tight.
Yep.
All good.
And it's funny, actually, I put the governor the other way, but it doesn't matter. It's going to resist it either way, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to move this throttle away so I can get to this bolt. That's why you don't want to loosen that yet, because otherwise it'll be right in your way. Okay, so that's done. We're going to go ahead and get this loosened while we have it here, because sometimes this one's really, really tight. In this case, it wasn't really, but you just want to try to do this before you're back under it. This is an 8, so make sure these are loosened. So that's your throttle hold down. That's the wire holder. Okay, now this is the next part. See how that's still tight? So we're going to go ahead and hit it, get it loosened up, just like that. So you want to keep messing around with it until, see how it returns really nicely. Okay, second part, we have a throttle limiter, so this limits the high throttle. We'll be removing that because we don't care. We want full throttle, so we'll remove that guy out of there. So now he'll be able to full throttle it as much as he wants. Okay. Okay. So the bolts are still not in here yet, so we'll just slide this assembly back on. But while we're doing that, oh, did I make an oopsie? Can't figure it out yet. Let's see. Yes, I should have went on this side. There's a clip where it clips on. Go ahead and come back from this side. I had to pull it around here and stick it behind here. Otherwise it was in the way. Alright, so I'm going to give this a little bit. So now when you push the carburetor back, you got to make sure that sits flush. And you look at your bolts, that will tell you whether or not you're all the way back just by how much thread's sticking out. And we're good now. Start these on by hand. These shouldn't be too tight. That should be plenty. Okay, same thing. Check our throttle assembly still. Okay. The only thing we need to do here is on the top. This vent needs to be rehooked up to the valve cover. This one can be a little bit of a stickler because it doesn't want to go back. So we need a screwdriver to coax it in. Once it's there, back in. So that's good. We're going to rehook up our spark plug. Make sure that's tight. And we're like in the home stretch now. Everything's pretty much back together. All we have left now is to get the front cover back on. We'll rotate the starter so that it's the way we want it to be. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't think I'm missing anything. I know we had this guy before. It was holding this in place, but I don't really think that's necessary because I'll probably just set it here. It's not gonna, like I said, you can do different things. You can route it somewhere else. You can do whatever you want with it, but I don't think it's really a problem being right there. It's just going to vent backwards. Or you can put a filter on it. I mean, honestly, you can cut it here and just put a little inline filter. Either way, it doesn't really matter. It's up to you how you want to do it. Some people remove this old on-off switch. I don't think it matters. You can just leave it. So now we're going to go ahead, lean the motor forward, or backward, sorry, and then slide this guy under. Got to make sure it gets beyond the spring. That spring's right away. Right there. And then once it slides back, you just want to make sure you have alignment. This is kind of the same thing. You want to tighten this, but not all the way at once. So these are 8 millimeters again. So I'm going to use my extension. Put that on there. So I just want to get these started is all. So I'll start screwing that in. That's the wrong one. Not those. Like I said, they're all about the same size, so just kind of keep, you can organize them however you want, but generally you can get them on there pretty easy. Anywhere there's a heat shield under there, sometimes that alignment is a little bit of a pain, so you have to force it a little bit. So now we're going to go get this other one on this side, start rolling it back so you guys can get a better view. You see how the alignment goes. I'm going to push this so that it goes back where it needs to go. This is the reason why we don't tighten everything up until we get all of it together. Alright, so that's screwing in nicely. Since that's happening, we now got all four. Now we can tighten it up. Okay. Oh, I'm an idiot.
What happened?
I didn't put that one in yet.
Oh.
It's alright, we'll add it. That one actually looks like it's also going to be a little bit of a biatch. Oh, maybe not. Sorry. Okay. That's our last one. So, like I said, leave them all loose until you get there. And we're going to fire everything in. Okay. So that's done. Now we'll take our starter and we'll have to rotate it this direction to match how the other one was. This had the smaller little bolts on it. Yeah. Same thing, we'll hand tighten those first. So, just want to make sure that one is not going to be difficult. No, it's good. It felt like it was threading kind of weird, so I just wanted to double check that it wasn't going to be a problem. You know, I think I was putting these wrong. I think it's these two, and then that one, the other one goes on the bottom. Yeah. It's nice because a lot of these used to not be threaded. You used to have a nut in the back, so you have to do this before you could, when you have to have the housing off to do this. These are threaded, which is really nice. So a lot of things about this motor where obviously they listen to people and got it done right. Okay. Alright. Okay. So that's all good. Rudder's pretty much back together. Same thing. We can't put the top back on here because we need to attach the throttle cable. So at this point, we should be good to set the motor on and start attaching it. And then, like I said, after we got the throttle assembly attached, then we can put this airbox back on. Unless you're, like I said, if you're doing stage 1 kit or something, it'll be a little different. But for us, this is kind of where we're at. So, I'm going to drop that vent kind of down there out of the way. Okay. Like I said, you just want to make sure that moves nice and freely. Okay. Oh, you know what we want to do first is put oil in it. The reason we want to put oil in it before we put it in is because number one, we're on a flat surface. Number two, we can actually open both sides and check the oil on the back side. So as we fill it, we can see see how full it is on that side. So it should be about a half quart. Let me go see if I think I have oil. Hold on.
Should have brought some, my bad.
Sorry. Go ahead and pause for now. All right,
You guys ever seen Love at First Sight? Look at that funnel. It came with the engine.
So we're going to do this slow because this thing does that. So if you do too much too fast, it'll do that. So be very careful. It forces you to treat it like a one and go slow.
You gotta give it your time. You gotta give it love. You gotta be patient.
Yes. Love takes patience.
Try forcing it, it becomes a whole mess.
Just goes everywhere. Okay. Let's check this side and see where we're at. And yeah, we got a little bit more to go. Should be close. Almost there. Usually like just under 450 milliliters is about where you want it to be. So on the side, out of a quart, you can measure it. It should be right around there to be full, which it is. That's exactly full. So I have 1 quart. We had to drop it down to, probably could fit a little bit more, but right around 450. This is just under 500 milliliters. And I'm looking at this side, more full, so I don't want to put any more. Can you hand me that rag real quick? So let's take a cleanup rag. Set this off to the side. Let that drip out. It's fine. You can see inside there, we're full. You don't even have to check the dipstick. You should just see it inside on the threads. Go ahead and take a look. You see there? Yeah. That's full. Okay, so when you put the second one on, this plug, make sure to put it as tight as possible, because chances are you're not going to remove this again, possibly, because it's going to be behind the belt. You don't want this to start leaking, because then you have to pull the belt off to get to it. So you just want to put it as hard, hand tight as you can. Okay, so we've slid the bolts in before, the mounting bolts, just so that they go in more easily. And then we're just going to drop it down, lift it up a little bit. He's going to need my help, so I'll come back. Okay, so I'm not going to record really show how we did this, but we're going to put the 4 nuts back on. So remember, it's a 10 millimeter and then a 12 on the top. Up here is going to be to get this throttle assembly done. So the first thing we're going to do is pass this guy in here, however it wants to go. It's about right there. We're going to tighten that down like so. And we already loosened this one, so we're going to loosen it so the eyelet opens up enough for us to slide the wire through. Sorry if I'm getting in the way like that. Okay, we make sure it's sitting idle. You want to just pull that tight so that the aisles, it doesn't have slack, but it's not too tight either. Sorry, I'm getting in the way. Okay, so that's tight. Take a 10 millimeter on this side. So we can tighten it the rest of the way. Okay, so now I'm going to pull the throttle. Now the only thing I don't like, so there's another tie down here, but I don't think that needs to be there. So I'm actually going to take it off, because the return wire is hitting it, and it doesn't need to, and we don't need this anyway. So it's nice that they give you plenty of ways to hook up the throttle however you see fit, which is not a bad thing. So now you just want to make sure you have free motion when you let that go. One thing I don't like, see, there's some dust on that, so we probably want to put a little bit of grease on that. Actually, some oil would be nice. Just add some extra oil. Just get that dabbed on your finger like that, and work that into the throttle assembly. That will help it not get worn out. Okay, so we're going to put this back on. We just want to make sure the seals are still there, which they are. Just want to make sure nothing fell out of it while we were working. Alright, so oops, there's a little dowel right here for it to sit on. Doesn't want to. There. That's funny, it was a little harder than I thought it would be. Okay, so now we can put our screws in. Go ahead. Okay, so make sure not to lose this gasket, because it sometimes falls off. And then we're going to put our filter back on. And then screw that down and then put the cap on. Alright, ready? Okay. Alright, make sure to put this back the same way. Remember, switch that bolt. We're going to slide the spacer on there first, then the actual front side of the driver, like so. Now we can put the belt on. Remember, the angled side goes to this side, so it's flat against the plate. We're going to feed that on there. That's weird. I never had one. Might want to. There we go. I'm just putting it on wrong. I'm an idiot. Alright, so I'm going to slide that back on there. These stock belts are actually really tight. It's interesting. Same thing, got to make sure that this beveled side goes out. So get it on the keyway so it'll turn until they're on the keyway. This is still oiled too, which is nice. All right, and then we're gonna slide on this. So turn it till it latches on. You have to pull it apart. Oh, just because I'm putting it backwards. See, putting things on backwards is not good. Okay, so it goes like that. This will turn until that beveled side latches up against here like so. You want to hold that. Don't want to, until you get it tight, you don't want that to move on you. And this will go on, it locks on the keyway as well. Then we're going to take our bolt. This one, you always want to hand thread first. Why is that not going through? Whoa. Something interesting here. This one's threaded.
No way.
Yeah. I've never seen one threaded before. Unless it's just, do I have to force it through, or? It just, they didn't fully clean on the machine out of it. I've never seen that before. That scared me for a second. Can you hand me a rag?
Yeah.
Or take the rag in your pocket. You don't want to put the threads in dirty like that. You don't want to do them dirty, because that'll all get caught in the engine, in the shaft, which you don't want. So we'll clean that off first. So we'll turn this so we can start getting that on. So our battery died, but you got the gist of it. This just go ahead and slides on there. I did find that this alignment piece right here, you gotta like punch it through, which was kind of odd. The other one wasn't like that, so don't feel weird if it doesn't want to go through. Just force it through, but make sure to clean the threads off on the bolt before you thread it back into the shaft there, the crankshaft. You don't want to take any chances on that. So that was pretty much it. We just rehooked up this stuff so everything looks like it's stock, and we're just good to go. We just start it up, let it run for a few minutes, and we'll get some riding video here in a second. Start right up. Go ahead. Ready, 3, 2, 1, go.
the engine fits it perfectly. The 224 engine on this, just converting everything. The light still works, it's still good, it bounces out the bike. When you ride this, you feel more engine shake, you feel the power. But as you go, the engine shake just goes off and feels smooth. But when you're ready to go, like if you want to do a takeoff just straight off launch it, and you race somebody that still has a stock engine, you're going to be taking off faster. Only way you guys aren't going to be taking off faster is the weight difference of you and the other person riding. So yeah, overall this thing will it'll take off, it'll go. If you want this for speed, you can do some modding to it, just put on a whole nother stage kit. But yeah, just as is, just put in this stuff on. It's amazing. It is on this new engine. The piece right here where you put in the bolt for the side cover is not there on the new engine because it's not made for just using that. So yeah, if you want to be a find a way to put it on. But yeah.
Say it one more time. I can't have it. Can't
Oh
say
yeah. So. Yeah. All right. So for you riders out there that want to be safe and don't want to injure yourself, please use safety. Don't wear sandals. Find a way to put on a seat cover because the bolt right here is not a thing anymore. If you look over here at this engine, this is the engine it came with. It came right here with a piece to put a bolt on to put the cover. There's also one right here. But if you look at this engine over here, we have a spot over here, but we don't have a spot over here. So we're like, how's that about to work? I'm just thinking duct tape and zip ties.
What about your muffler?
Oh yeah, also muffler. Another thing, if you guys want to swap mufflers, old engine muffler, it shoots the exhaust down. This one shoots straight. So good side is you got a seat warmer. Downside is there might be melting plastic over time, but it's durable. Should last for a while.
Chances are you'll probably switch the muffler out anyways at some point and get the long tube muffler. I think it's pretty cheap.
Yeah, 30 bucks.
Yeah.
I might get that soon.
But like I've told people before, it's best to run it stock as long as you can, so you can't stand it no more, and then you can really feel the difference as you change out parts. But key is that it's a direct replacement with the exception of replacing that bolt right there. But everything else pretty much transfers over directly. No other parts are needed to do the transfer. So A+.
Came out amazing.
And you still have good access to the gas tank, which is nice. The gas tank actually sits lower, so that's even better.
It's a squatted. I don't know how to measure squat the
Yeah,
gas
it's
tank.
just it's a fatter motor. The width on it's a little wider. And also people change out the cover, but I like the cover. So
If you take your time to look at that gas tank, you're like, why does it look so small? It's because the engine's just that big.
yeah, it's just wider. Like I said, you can switch out the side cover if you switch the fan over. But I'm a fan of this. Are you a fan of it?
I'm a fan of this. This thing goes.
All right. Any questions you guys have, go ahead and feel free to comment below. And hope this is helpful for everybody. Ride safe.